everyone, welcome back. My name is Sarah and this is Embracing Holistic Living. Today I have something a little bit different to share with you all. I am an avid book reader. I love books. I grew up obsessed with reading. I used to read on my walk home from school. I perfected the art of walking and reading. And so all my life I've just loved books, and so I kind of want to start to share that a little bit more and share books that I love, in particular books that have more of a personal development theme to them. Growing up I loved reading these kinds of books, and I didn't realise it was a genre. I didn't realise it was something that people seek and look out for. I just knew that I loved reading about things that could give me a better perspective on life and on myself and how I interact with life. So I sort of thought that I'd start this little series of books I recommend, or books that I'm loving right now, or books that I've read and I want you guys to read, or I want to tell you about and I want to share. And just explain a little bit about what the book is, why I like it, maybe a paragraph from it that I really like. Yeah, so that's kind of the theme of it, I guess. I thought I would just keep it to my top 5 today, because I could talk for hours about books. So I have 5 books here that are sort of in the personal, or not sort of, they are in the personal development theme. And they're ones that I would recommend to my best friend in a heartbeat. So I want to share them with you. So first up we have a book by Dan Millman, and this is it's just Way of the Peaceful Warrior. This book I found through having to read it for an assignment for my yoga teacher training. We had to read it and then we had to write an essay about it, and just what we thought of it and what we took from it. And it is a little bit different. When I first read it I sort of thought, oh, I don't know if I like this. However, now I read it every single year, so I've made a commitment that I'll read it every year. And so I've just read it for the 3rd time, and I love it. It really does go through a lot of things to do with yoga, or I guess maybe I just saw it that way from why I was reading it. But it's about a guy, Dan Millman. It's about himself. He meets a very wise old man who he names Socrates, and he gets taught by Socrates how to live the way of the peaceful warrior. And so Dan Millman is alive, he's out and about in today's world, and he had this happen to him. A lot of it I first read and found hard to believe, but my thoughts have changed on that. So I don't know, I'll read you the back of it. So, Way of the Peaceful Warrior has become one of the most beloved spiritual sagas of our time. Shared among friends and families, this multi-million copy word-of-mouth bestseller has translated into 20 languages and has inspired men and women of all ages worldwide. Despite his success, college student and world champion athlete Dan Millman is haunted by a feeling that something is missing from his life. Awakened one night by dark dreams, he wanders into an all-night gas station. There he meets an old man named Socrates, and his world is changed forever. Guided by this eccentric old warrior and drawn to the elusive young woman named Joy, Dan begins a spiritual odyssey into realms of light and shadow, romance and mystery. His journey leads him towards a final confrontation that will deliver or destroy him. And then a bit out of this that I love. So this is a story Socrates is telling Dan. And I'm just going to share it with you. A mother brought her young son to Mahatma Gandhi. She begged, "Please, Mahatma, tell my son to stop eating sugar." Gandhi paused, then said, "Bring your son back in 2 weeks." Puzzled, the woman thanked him and said that she would do as he had asked. 2 weeks later, she returned with her son. Gandhi looked the youngster in the eyes and said, "Stop eating sugar." Grateful but bewildered, the woman asked, "Why did you tell me to bring him back in 2 weeks? You could have told him the same thing then." Gandhi replied, "2 weeks ago, I was eating sugar." I just love that. Like, don't ever preach to someone something that you don't yourself do. I think that's an awesome lesson. So I love that, really recommend. It's a little bit, I guess, not common in terms of personal development books, but I get little nuggets of wisdom every time I read it. The next one I have here is the Strengths Finder test from Don Clifton. And this is actually a test. So you can pay to do the test online, or you can buy the book and they give you the test inside. So there's a little rip-off and you get a code so that you can then go on and do the test. And then you have the book to be able to read about what your strengths are. So essentially you do this test and it tells you your top 5 strengths that you have as a person, a human, and ways that you can use your strengths so that you can focus on having a career that enhances your strengths and works with your strengths, rather than trying to force yourself to be something that you're not, or try to grow a strength that isn't one of your top strengths, because the more work you do that aligns to your strengths, the better you'll be at it and the easier you'll find it. So I really enjoyed this. The test gives you heaps of results as well, so there's a lot of information and reports that they pull about you and send to you, and then the book goes through all of the different strengths. So I found it interesting to see what all the strengths were, and then to read more about what mine were. So mine, my top 5 strengths are empathy, input, learner, positivity, and developer. And developer, like, I never really thought about and found that one quite interesting. So I have quite a strength in wanting to develop others and wanting to support others and grow others. And so I've now put into some of my requests at work to be a leader, and to manage or mentor and help others a little bit more. So I think getting insights into how you behave is amazing. And after I did this test and then read about each of these strengths, I was like, wow, yes, I do all those things all the time. That's me to a T. So it kind of it makes me feel a little bit more empowered about what my strengths are and where I can do good and where I can focus on my strengths. And then also ways to manage strengths. Like, for example, I have empathy, and so I feel a lot for other people, and I can put myself in people's shoes of lives I've never experienced. But I also need to know how to not get so involved that it really drains me and takes away all my energy, and to be empathetic but not, they call it something, sympathetic. Empathetic, not sympathetic. So I don't feel like I really explained that one very well, but highly recommend. This is a great thing for personal development at work as well. To be able to share with your managers is something that I think is important. Next we have You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. This is the best book. Like, if you have never read a personal development book, I would recommend going to this one first. If you think personal development books are a little bit whoopee, hippie, woo-woo, this one is amazing. It's almost like she's taking the piss out of the fact that she's writing a personal development book, and how to help better yourself, but she's making so many jokes throughout it. It's a funny book. Like, I find it really funny. I don't know if I have anything folded. What do I have? Let me try and find... So each chapter is on a different topic. So for example, this is Forgive or Fester. It's so easy once you figure out it isn't hard. Here it is. Okay, I'm just going to read you this bit. So part 4 is how to get over your bullshit already. I was hanging out in my sunny California home one morning, reading the newspaper with the doors flung open and the stereo blasting, when all of a sudden a bird came tearing into my living room. He was flapping around like a maniac, flying into lamps and plants, spreading leaves, feathers, poop and panic all over the place. In any attempt to escape, he kept slamming himself into the window while I feebly chased him around with a flip-flop, trying to guide him back towards the open door. It was awful to watch. The poor guy was all panting and wild-eyed, his little birdie heart no doubt about to explode with fear, while he threw himself over and over again into the glass at full speed. I finally managed to escort him outside to freedom, and then spent a few very bothered minutes calming my own little birdie heart while I revisited the scene of the accident. I imagined his confusion and frustration. I can see the sky. It's right there. If I fly hard and fast enough, I know I can reach it. It made me think of the way so many of us live our lives. We can see what we want. We nearly kill ourselves trying to get it in a way that's not working. Meanwhile, if we just stopped, got quiet for a minute or two, and looked at things a little differently, we'd notice the door to what we want being held open for us by the nice lady in the bathrobe across the room. Then all we'd have to do is fly through it. Yeah, I love this book. So many nuggets of wisdom, honestly. I kept reading so many bits of this to my husband and friends and mum, and yeah. Right after I read it, I downloaded the audiobook and I listened to the audiobook immediately after I read it, and then I downloaded the audiobook of You're a Badass at Making Money, which is all about your thoughts around money. So I'm going to read this probably once a year as well, because it's awesome. Next we have Conversations with God, book 1, which I'm actually just halfway through. I haven't finished this one, but I would recommend it. I'm not religious per se. I'm not a Catholic or anything. I probably align myself to Buddhism more than anything. So I guess I'm spiritual, but I'm not necessarily a believer of God per se. I don't know. In any religion anyway, I feel like everything leads to God. It's just what you want to call it can be different. So without getting into too much about that, this is a book where Neil Donald Walsh is writing at his desk and he's angry with God and he's writing to God, and then God writes back and he writes the answers, and it's full of so many nuggets of wisdom about life. And he says he's had this sort of out-of-body experience writing this book. And there's a lot of really great nuggets of wisdom in this. I've been folding over so many pages. I've been highlighting. It's pretty in-depth. It's not just something you read to get to sleep. You kind of have to really focus on it. But I really have been enjoying the wisdom I'm getting from this. And I'll read a passage and have to stop and think about it for a while, think about my life and how it applies to it, and it's kind of like, right, some of those moments. So let me just read you a little bit of one. Where is one? Here. You get your life to take off by first becoming very clear in your thinking about it. Think about what you want to be, do, and have. Think about it often until you are very clear about this. Then, when you are very clear, think about nothing else. Imagine no other possibilities. Throw all negative thoughts out of your mental construction. Lose all pessimism. Release all doubts. Reject all fears. Discipline your mind to hold fast to the original creative thought. When your thoughts are clear and steadfast, begin to speak them as truths. Say them out loud. Use the great command that calls forth creative power. I am. Make I am statements to others. I am is the strongest creative statement in the universe. Whatever you think, whatever you say after the words I am sets into motion those experiences, calls them forth, brings them to you. There is no other way the universe knows how to work. There is no other route it knows how to take. The universe responds to I am, as would a genie in a bottle. You say, release all doubts, reject all fears, lose all pessimism, as if you're saying, pick me up a loaf of bread. But these things are easier said than done. throw all negative thoughts out of your mental constructions, might as well read Climb Mount Everest before lunch. It's a rather large order. Harnessing your thoughts, exercising control over them, is not as difficult as it might seem. Neither, for that matter, is climbing Mount Everest. It is all a matter of discipline. It is a question of intent. The first step is learning to monitor your thoughts, to think about what you are thinking about. When you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts, thoughts that negate your highest idea about a thing, think again. I want you to do this, literally. If you think you're in a doldrum, in a pickle, and no good can come of this, think again. If you think the world is a bad place filled with negative events, think again. If you think your life is falling apart and it looks as if you'll never get it back together, think again. You can train yourself to do this. I love that. I love that. A lot of books that I have read talk about the way that you talk internally and the way that you talk to others, and the I am statement is huge. The universe doesn't respond to I want or I wish, because then that's all you'll get, the wish for it or the want for it. And so I love that slight change in the way that you think of I am, and acting as if you're already where you want to be, to then open up the paths to get you there. I really took that away from it. And I read something, I don't know, about how we go to sleep at night lying down pretending that we're asleep. So we pretend to go to sleep, which I never thought about before, and we do. We lie down in bed, we close our eyes, and we lie there in silence with our eyes shut while we're still awake to go to sleep. And so it's kind of that fake it till you make it, fake it till you become it mentality of, you say those I am statements to yourself about things that you want to happen, and it's almost like you're allowing the universe to go, oh, okay, well, we'll give you the tools to get there. So yeah, love that. Sorry, my camera cut out there. So the back of the book. Readers of all ages and walks of life have drawn inspiration from Elizabeth Gilbert's books for years. Now this beloved author shares her wisdom and unique understanding of creativity, shattering the perceptions of mystery and suffering that surround the process, and reminding us all just how easy it can be. By sharing stories from her own life, as well as those from her friends and the people who have inspired her, Elizabeth Gilbert challenges us to embrace our curiosity, tackle what we most love, and face down what we most... Okay, my card keeps cutting me off, so the screen might have changed a little bit because I just reset it. So that is all of the books that I wanted to talk to you about today. They are 5 books that I absolutely love and would recommend, and if you've read them, let me know. Let me know what your key takeaways from them were. And if you have any other books that you sort of think align to these that you think I would like, let me know. Love book recommendations, love finding really good books. If you like this idea as well, please let me know, and maybe I'll do it once a month and sort of just talk through some of my favourite books or what I'm currently reading, or we could start our own online book club, because I know like-minded people aren't always your next door neighbours, so it's nice to connect with people who have similar interests. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Hit the like and subscribe button if you do want to see more, and I'll see you soon. Bye!